Should totally put it on X.
Twitter.
Tweetex, X-Twit.
Yeah. This is what Elon Musk wants, really, doesn't he? He wants this.
We're talking about it.
Yeah.
Oi. Look at that.
Sorry, are we allowed to swear on this?
Some work. I already have today, so I mean, it might get beeped, but
he has to have. Really, he should come up with his own kind of custom beep, shouldn't he? Like something really British. Something, for example. So I was thinking something genuinely British, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't know what's this very British sound, like someone going "oi" or something like that, right?
That would be fantastic. There is, because I mean, if it's going on YouTube, it has effects. If there's swears in it, it has to like either be bleeped or you have to like rate it.
Yeah.
Or so, I don't know what the rules are.
All right, but there must be a little clip of the Queen going or something like that, like that he can use as a kind of a beep. Yeah. What else? Something like that. I could mix and match it, really. But I there's something. I have to make sure not to swear then, because there's something about being having something so British cover up my voice as an Irish person that I don't like. It makes me culturally uncomfortable.
See, I don't feel that way. I would rather maintain my own natural self, even if I'm gonna get censored by somebody. Like then everybody knows I've been censored. It's okay.
Fair enough.
Like that's honest, right? I mean, like,
yeah. Well, you can be honest and
censor
show
yourself.
Show self-control.
Well, I mean, but that's it, right? To me, part of the reasons why we're doing this is like actually to show an authentic side and to put that out there.
Well, see, but what if you're punished for that by, for example, being censored by the Queen? Is it worth it? Right?
Yeah, because everybody knows that there was a decision to censor me then, right? Versus if I censor myself, then no one knows that I really would have said "woo" at that point in time, that I like meant it,
We need to find you a sound that you won't like to cover up that obscenity that you just uttered.
Me? Why do you want to censor me? I don't understand.
I mean, we haven't decided what the target age group for this is yet, have we?
The point is that, right? It's a pubcast. It's made for people who go to pubs, right? This is the point. We're going to the pub. We're at the pub.
Kids come to the pub sometimes too.
Yes, sure. And you know what? If I'm in front of kids, I would censor myself for the kids because, and sometimes I mess up and I do swear in front of kids though. Yeah. So for me, I'd rather be, my natural, authentic self, because I don't want to police myself unless there's a really good reason to. So I am very comfortable with showing my real, authentic self. And then Paul's saying, okay, we're going to put it on YouTube and we don't want mature rating. So we're going to put a little "woo," or something over, whenever I say "woo."
They should take that sound and censor you with that one, and people are gonna be like, "Why? Why is that?" And until they get to the moment where you make the sound, and then the context is finally revealed.
Right? Yeah. That little. If this clip gets into the pubcast one day, right?
Yeah.
Us talking about
the origin of the beep.
The origin of the sound.
Indeed. It definitely it could be a thing, an editing kind of touch, if he decides to beep people with with a sound that they themselves have made during the podcast.
That's fantastic.
It could be his own little signature. I don't know.
I'm really loving hearing my own voice in this. It's kind of really weird, especially when I modulate it differently.
Yes, I'm sad that I don't get to experience that. Alas, I do not have an adapter.
We'll have to make sure you have an adapter next time.
Yeah. It's quite...
Every time we forget one little thing,
Yeah, I forget to go to sleep at a good time.
We have that in common.
What time did you go to sleep last night?
4.
I win this time, unfortunately. 5:30 or something like that.
We played D&D until 2 o'clock in the morning.
What? With who? Simon,
yeah,
nice.
The Dublin guys. Yeah,
very good.
And then Simon's in Bulgaria, so he was just like, I was on vacation, so we just chatted afterwards, and it's so hot in my freaking apartment.
Yeah. Is it summertime in D&D land as well?
In D&D land, I wouldn't even know we're underground.
I feel like I've asked you this before, but like, have you played Baldur's Gate yet?
No, I haven't.
But it sounds like something that, I mean, when I heard it it existed, you're the first person I thought of, but definitely
like
something we're going to lose our lives on.
That's exactly it. This is the reason why I don't have it yet.
Yeah.
Like Brian, one of the guys we're playing with, he's spent 100 hours on Act 1.
Act 1 of the game.
Yeah.
Christ. And how many acts are there?
3, I think.
Right. Fair.
Okay. The game has 17,000 endings.
Yeah, sure.
Right, for all the different possibility of all the different choices you can make.
Yeah.
17,000 endings. That's the developers know of off the top, like from their base calculations.
They made them, but what's happening with the computer? Shit.
I think it just went to.
Okay, it's still working. Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I've been, but it's not out in PS5 yet, I don't think.
No, and there's some, consternation about that for sure.
Yeah, there's drama with Xbox, I think.
Yeah, like
it.
exclusives and stuff like that.
It's not even that. It's just there's something with the fact that they have 2 different Xbox SKUs. That would you say?
Right.
And one of them is weaker than the other, and you can't have drop-in, drop-out multiplayer and have the game run the way it's supposed to on one.
Right.
And Microsoft won't let you release it on the better one and not on the weaker one. And they refuse to take it out of the game, that feature out of the game. So, yeah.
Drop in, drop out multi. Oh my gosh, that's the thing. Is like I that's when I'll play the game, when somebody wants to play it with me.
I mean, if it's cross-platform, I'll play it with you.
That would be something.
I mean, I can't right now anyway, right? I got no time.
Neither do I.
But yeah, but like, it's on the list, for sure. Like I want to play it sometime.
And Starfield, like.
Oh, that well, I can't play that anyway. It's not PS. It's not going to be on PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Like,
it's one thing not on the list. But
yeah, that looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I've got.
But I'm like I didn't finish Fallout, like 3 or 4. So
4 I didn't finish. I played Fallout 4 when I got it for 6 hours straight when I first got it. And I was not blown away by it, to be honest. Like that whole, the you build your own house, that sort of thing, really didn't.
I played with it a little bit. I basically got to the point where I built my own first house, and I haven't played it anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I played for those 6 hours and I never came back.
I'm about the same. Yeah.
Fallout 3 was great. I finished it like 100%.
Fallout 3 and Fallout 3 Vegas were both really great.
Vegas was great. Yeah. 4 was just not great.
I don't know. Yeah.
Just emptier or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know. Yeah, you're right. I don't even know why. Didn't get into it.
Just didn't hook me.
But I mean, Witcher 3, I have played through the entire core plus the first expansion, and now I'm doing the winery place expansion.
Wine and Blood, isn't it?
Wine and Blood, yeah, Wine and Blood.
Yeah.
And I stopped. I haven't.
How long is that? How many hours is that? It's like 150 or something.
Something like that. Yeah. Like more than 100 hours, and I just. Now it's been like years since I played all the rest. So if I played again, I have to learn how to fight again.
Yeah.
So
because you were really role playing it, were you on the hardest difficulty?
No.
You were on a hard difficulty though. You were on the difficulty where you need. What was it? You played it differently to me. I was just in it for the story, whereas you were enjoying the actual collecting stuff, mixing stuff, and
yeah. I mean, I hated that. I like a challenge. I want the game to push on me back a little bit, so that I have to earn things a little bit.
I do like that in general, right? I mean, Christ, yeah, but not in that style of game. I want, if it's that big and I know it's going to take that much of my time, I don't like it to be too challenging.
I get you.
It's too. I don't like it in a 150-hour game where I have to redo something because I failed it.
Yeah,
that's.
So that's one of Brian's biggest complaints about Baldur's Gate 3 is that, and this really comes from, I mean, the D20 system.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The D20 system is it's designed to create massive failure, massive success moments. So, but for me, I mean, this is something, you know, if you play D&D with me, like you'd know, like, to me, the heroic acts come from the choices you make.
Yeah.
It's about the choices you make. It's not about the dice rolls. And, you know, D&D kind of allows for this kind of other side case where the dice rolls make the act heroic, right? And it's like in that moment, because you rolled a natural 20, it's a heroic outcome. So describe how it happened. Versus for me, I'm much more about the describe what you want to do. And if your action is heroic, you know, then there should be things that benefit you in that moment, right? And that's where, you know, if we get into it, you know, I'll talk about hero points and things like that. But sure. This is more of a pubcast than a D&D cast.
Yeah, indeed.
But I could talk about D&D for, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, like one of the, I'm not surprised that he has a problem with all of that, because I mean, when you roll a 1 in a game, in a real game of D&D, like your DM will adapt and he'll use that to tell the story. Whereas when, you know, one of the things I heard was a problem with Baldur's Gate was, like, for example, like chests that are traps. For example, when you if you like, it can be a little bit. What's the word? Discouraging, disheartening, disappointing. If you have, for example, built up a character that's supposed to be good at dealing with those situations, but you roll a 1,
right?
And it's not like if you fail something like, okay, I found a chest and it blew up in my face. I don't know if that actually happens in the game, but for example,
I'm sure it does.
It's not. It's kind of, that's a game mechanic. It's not a unique encounter that some DM has come up with.
Right.
It's just something that's dotted around the map. And so it's at that point when you come into something like that and you're punished for it, and there's no real like story that comes from that. People tend to like just reload a save and go back and try again.
Yeah, save spamming is the story. I mean, but that's it. That's what. So the big issue for me is that right? If you're an expert and you fail 5% of the time, but that doesn't meet with reality. You don't, like, 1 in 20 times you just you completely utterly fail.
Yeah,
you know,
you're supposed to be a master of persuasion, but, like, you know, your fake mustache fell off that one time. I don't know, like.
No, it falls off 1 in 20 times.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
But that's the issue, right? That's the issue is that you know. But more importantly, you're talking about, like, I'm disarming the trap on this chest, and I'm an expert. It's the core theme of my character. This is what I'm good at. And 1 in 20 times I still fail. And 1 in 20 times I have a spectacular success. But when it comes to disarming a trap, what does that mean? It just means I open it, right? Sure. Now, it can lead to cool moments. You roll a natural 20, you do a critical hit on an enemy, and it makes, like, the fight go faster, or you have some cool, you know, explanation of something that happens there. But the fundamental thing is that D&D is meant to be simplified in that the D20, you roll a D20, 1 is always a failure. There's a target number to tell you succeeded, and then there's a critical success sometimes. So there's 3 possible outcomes: failure, success, crit. And that simplifies the management of the outcome. Versus reality is rarely like that. There's very rarely, like, absolute failures and absolute successes. Most of life is filled with these kind of, like, well, you know, you climbed halfway up the
general mediocrity,
the rope, right? It's going to take you longer than you expected to do the job, but you're still going to succeed. You know, and that's the thing is, like, there's a huge, interesting, like, level of game design and things like that.
But are you playing anything at the moment? We're talking about video games. Like, we're talking about Baldur's Gate, which we haven't really played at all, either of us. But you're playing Witcher at the moment. You said, or you're playing anything?
No, I haven't played Witcher. I'm not.
You're
really.
A busy boy.
Yeah, I'm just life, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I gotta squeeze it in myself. It's my chill time, especially in this damn heat.
What have you been watching playing anything lately?
Well, I'm playing a game called Nobody Saves the World. I was playing Inscription too, which is great.
What Tell me about Inscription. Tell me about Nobody Saves the World.
Inscription is a kind of like a roguelike card game, which is fantastic. Great story, kind of horror elements to it. You go into the game and you can't click new game. It's blacked out. You can only click continue, which is already quite strange. And then like the main character is just kind of like, it's been such a long time since I've played with anybody. Let's go, right? And
that's interesting.
So it's kind of like you are. It's you, a table, and like a figure you can only see his eyes, and they open really slowly at the start of the game. It's really creepy, and like a big heavy wooden door creaking open as the eyelids slowly open. It's like, okay, and he teaches you to play the game, and every time you're either playing the card game, when you win the card game or lose the card game, the cards go away, and you have a map. You're just at this table with this guy interacting with the table like it's a D&D game kind of thing, right? And you make choices and you beat different characters. There's different mechanics with different characters you play against and stuff. And then it's, how shall I say, I don't want to spoil anything, but it definitely does some things that are different after that.
Wow.
Like the game does not stay like that the whole time, but if you look up any screenshots or anybody, you talk to anybody who wants you to play the game, they're not going to talk about anything beyond that point, but the game does some really interesting things beyond that. So I really can't recommend it enough, and when I finished it, it was like, wow.
Inscription.
Yes, with a Y in the middle.
Okay.
But then Nobody Saves the World, another great game, by a company called Drinkbox Studios.
Drinkbox Studios. Nobody Saves the World. Okay.
Nobody nobody really talks about them, but they make really cool games that are really varied. Every game's different. They made a game called Guacamelee, which is like just 2D fighter kind of thing, and then another game called what was it? Like, it was a really miserable game actually, but really fun, where you're like a woman with one arm, and it's a touchscreen only game. It's like a dungeon crawler, where you can only move you move forward, but you can only face in 4 directions. You know that style of game, right?
Yeah, okay.
And the battle is like you just moving, swiping left and right between enemies, juggling them, and like trying to like counter them and attack them with your one arm. Right? Great game as well. And then Nobody Saves the World is like their top-down RPG style of game, where you have different roles that you unlock, and you can mix and match them, and it's pretty cool. It gives you a lot of dopamine to play this game. It's just about like building, like making your character stronger, or learning new abilities and unlocking lots and lots of stuff. And it's a game for the lizard brain. Yeah.
Is it like those kind of idle games, like idle capitalist, idle communist?
Games where you don't actually play, you mean?
Well, like the like the theme of idle capitalist is like you start the game where you you hit the button and you sell lemonade every time you hit the button. Okay. And then when you make a certain amount of money, you can like hire someone to like sell the lemonade for you, so it hits the button automatically.
Okay.
And then you can make enough money that you can buy 2 lemonade stands, and then 3 lemonade stands, and then you can buy a car wash, and you have to like run the car wash yourself by hitting the button, right? And then you like hire a manager to run the car wash, and it runs it, and you hire multiple people to run it, and everything you scale everything up, bigger and bigger and bigger businesses and bigger things, and you make decisions about like where to invest and how to invest your money. Do you become more efficient, or do you buy more, or do you do all these different things? All in order to just make money faster,
right?
To make the thing
to press the button quicker, right?
So that the thing presses its own button faster,
right? Okay.
It's like you log out of the game, and it logs back in and says, "Oh, you've been gone for like 3 days, 7 hours and 27 minutes. You've made $29,375,000, $375,276,325.02." It's a very good title for that for such a game. Well, but idle capitalist, you said. Is that what idle communist works basically the same. No. There's 2. They're competing games. Right? Idle capitalist and idle communist basically play off these exact, memes and tropes of communism and capitalism to do basically the same thing.
Right. Well, Nobody Saved the World is not there's no passive way of growing your character. It's like you start with just being able to transform into a rat, and you can only bite things. And if you bite things enough, then you unlock another ability, which it's a special bite that heals you, right?
Okay.
And if you do that enough, with enough types of if you do it it gives you challenges to use to complete with using certain abilities. If you do enough of them, you unlock another form, which is another type of. I think you become a horse, and if you do enough with the horse, you can unlock a knight or an archer or a monk or a turtle. Like there's all you can, and at the end, I just got the dragon. So
all right.
But I had to be an egg and find nests for birds to sit on me around the map. And if I got enough birds to sit on me, I could transform into a dragon, and now I can fly around and blow fire on people. I think I'm OP now. It's fun. But yeah,
Nobody Saves the World.
yeah. Because main character's name is Nobody. So he saves the world. He's nobody. He transforms into whatever he wants. Anyway,
And you transform into a rat at first.
yes, because you're in prison and you need to get out, so you turn to a rat and you get out. That's very deep story. It's not a deep story at all, but it's funny.
It's a classic roguelike theme, getting out of prison.
That is true. It's like, what games are like that? I mean, I'm thinking, what's that one called? Dead Cells?
Rogue.
Rogue. Ah, right. Yes. Is that what happens in Rogue? I never played it.
I think. Well, it's hard for me to remember exactly. I think of NetHack and Moria. Like a Rogue, I think you have to find the Amulet of Yendor. So you have to go down into the dungeon to find the Amulet of the Yendor and then return to the top with it.
Of the Endor, like the planet.
Amulet of
Yendor. The moon in Star Wars.
Yendor, I think.
Of Yendor, right? Okay.
Yendor.
I thought you were just saying the Endor.
No, that's just my American accent.
Also, my sleepiness from going to sleep at 5:30 in the morning because my quiz was
good.
Too much fun last night. Yeah.
Well, if I hadn't been playing D&D, I would have been at the quiz.
Oh, honestly, put 150 people in one enclosed space.
Was it hot?
It was, yeah, a little bit, yeah. There is aircon there, but not there's not aircon in every corner of the bar.
Last week we were hot, so
yeah, it was worse last night, and people were annoyed. People were grumpy. People, not every. One particular group was very grumpy and vocal about it and spreading their negativity around, and that 18
that
teams.
Sucks.
There were 18 teams, and
18 teams.
You
dang.
just need one to be negative, and then it kind of colors the night a little bit.
Yeah, but, that's rough. Well, I mean, we're in the heat of that kind of cool.
Christ alive, it was 40 degrees.
Oh,
I've got the walk here.
I've got pictures of a thermometer in my apartment saying 45. Like in the space between the shutters and the window, like on the sun side of the apartment. In between those shutters, 45 degrees.
Christ,
right?
That is miserable.
It's hot. It's 2 degrees hotter today.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go home. And I'll take pictures of that when I get home because it's gonna be the heat of the day.
We can cut them in maybe in the. Just to be like, hey. Well, I mean, it's going to be better on Friday, but when it'll be definitely after after that anyone sees this. Just to it'll be good to see that, just to remind everyone what misery we went through for about a week and a half or so here.
It's so nice here at the Seven Sisters Pub.
This aircon is
beautiful air conditioning, keeping us cool. It feels so good to sit here.
I arrived; they were already doing a podcast
and sip this Brooklyn East IPA.
Drink my cold water. I can't. It's
delicious.
I mean, it's maybe to chin water is maybe not very.
Yeah, it depends upon your cultural proclivities.
Cold water, it's it feels like it's better than any drink at the moment.
Sometimes that's why I have this entire pint of water here, just to keep myself from being parched.
I arrived here. You guys were already doing a podcast. When you stopped, you gave me a hug. I'd only been in here for 5 minutes, but the difference in temperature between my body temperature and your body temperature was noticeable,
significant.
Yeah.
So that's that. like I have a thermometer, and I have a handheld like infrared thermometer. So it tells me the temperature of surfaces, right? So I'm like going around my apartment, like looking at the temperature and the outside temperature to try to determine when to open the windows to like go to ventilation. Because like this morning at 9 o'clock in the morning, it was 28 degrees outside and 28 degrees inside, so I shut everything.
Good. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
When I get back, I'm sure it will be 30 inside because it's like 40 outside right now. So it will have gotten up to 30 when I get home probably, and then I'll be there making more heat. And my office, of course, because I'm sitting in my office all day working, is the hottest room in the house.
Yeah, no surprise.
And it didn't cool down until 11:30 when I was like, oh, it's 31 inside and it's 32 outside. It's 31 inside, it's 32 outside. It's 32 inside, it's 31 outside. Open everything.
Yeah.
And that was 11:30, and like slowly cooling down into the night as I played D&D until 2 o'clock in the morning.
I was laughing to myself just thinking about like that the heat is so bad and it's making us all so desperate. My engineer friend is trying to science his way out of trying to micromanage the temperature in every corner of the room you in any way you can, whereas most of us other mere mortals will simply just lie in a pool of our own sweat in bed and just be sad.
Notice which part of the house is the hottest and the coolest, and you blow the air from the coolest part into the other parts so it evacuates the hot air. You move the air around to to maximize your comfort as much as possible, because otherwise you're in misery.
Well, I do have a portable aircon thing that is like you can't have a conversation with anyone while it's on because it's so damn loud. So, but you don't care when you're able to like be you're able to think clearly and not suffer all the time.
Play video games.
That said, though, when you turn it off, the humidity and the heat immediately sets in, and it's pretty sad. But hey, we'll get through it. On Friday, from Friday, and I think on, it's going to rain on us constantly.
It would be so welcome.
I'm going to be like the guy, the main character in Shawshank Redemption when he like gets out of prison. Just gonna be like, what does he say? He just cries, doesn't he? I can't remember. It's been so long since I saw that movie.
I was thinking about it. We should watch that movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I saw a clip of the scene on the top of the roof when they're drinking the beers. I just like, that's such a great scene.
It really has been. It's been over 10 years since I last saw.
It's the moment when the guard is complaining about how he's getting some money for the family benefit, and the main character he's an accountant, right? So he's like, hey, do you trust your wife? And of course the guard's like, oh, you're done, right? Like, you don't call into question my wife, right? And he's like, wait, like, do you trust your wife? And he's not a very articulate guy, but he finally gets it over. He's like, look, if you can trust your wife, you can keep it all tax free. And the guy's like, what? You're like, this is your last. He's holding him on the edge of the building and about to toss him over the edge of the building, right? And he's like, yeah, like, you can have a one-time gift of up to $60,000, to your wife, and it can be tax-free. And he's like, oh, really? Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, if you had an accountant to fill the forms out for you, you'd be all set. And the guard's like, oh, where am I going to find an accountant? I'm like, I'm an accountant. Like, what are you going to charge? I can't afford that. He's like, look, how about 3 beers for all of our guys up here doing this work, and a break to drink them. Right, and he's like, and the next scene is them sitting there sipping beers on the roof after their work is done, and it's just like, it's such a beautiful. I mean, that's such a beautiful movie. It's brutal and beautiful movie.
I have zero recollection of that scene, but I still got the chills there. Just
like,
because it is, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I have like 3, maybe 4 vague memories, like flashes I've seen it like 3 or 4 times in my life in total, I think. But
I've seen it at least twice.
I remember this scene, obviously, in the rain. I remember like the scene of the guards looking down the big hole in the wall. I remember just Dufresne. I remember that sound. I don't know who says it or what. It is Dufresne, isn't it?
Yeah, Dufresne sounds right. Right.
I think that's the name of the main character. And I can see Morgan Freeman's face.
Andy Dufresne.
That's it. Yeah.
Can I make a Morgan Freeman voice? I'm trying to see if I can make. No, I can't quite get to it. I don't know how I need to change it.
Gone full redneck now. Huh?
To find my way, to find that kind of way of speaking that Morgan Freeman's. No, I can't.
Hot damn.
He has such like a beautiful control of his voice, and just says these things in such a matter-of-fact way. And I feel like I can kind of get close to it, but I can't maintain it. And it's not just the tone, it's also the way he speaks and his pacing. He's never rushed.
He's got this, like, I don't know, in that movie, I feel, but again, vague memories. In that movie, he isn't there a part of him, like, you can get the sense that he's, like, let go or something. Like, he's given up on something. And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's part of it.
He's like, he knows he's in prison until he's dead. Like, that's the theme of it.
Right, yeah. And I think, you know, you're too optimistic, Alan, to be able to pull such a voice out. Like, that's all I'm saying. Maybe
you're right.
That's why you can't hold on to it.
I think that's a question of training, not a question of optimism. That's a very optimistic view, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah, but is it really worth training yourself to, like, put yourself down in the dumps just to be able to imitate a voice from a guy?
No, I'm trying to imitate Morgan Freeman's voice, not like Morgan Freeman's character. You know,
Yeah, but you know, you can't. Can you really? Well, you described him as like talking in a matter-of-fact way with certain like calmness and controlledness, but that comes from what's behind it.
Well, I mean Morgan Freeman's narrator voice is kind of what I'm more speaking about.
I see. Okay. Right.
Like, he speaks like, now Andy Dufresne was a man who just did the thing the way it meant to be done.
Yes.
Like, kind of that.
He was a narrator on that too.
Yeah, and he often narrates. He's like, he's got that. He's just say he has a brilliant voice.
He marched the Penguins, didn't he?
Maybe, I don't remember.
I think that's he was a narrator in that. I think that was funnily enough, I think it's the only reason why my mom liked it. Actually, she doesn't really watch movies, but she loves this documentary about penguins because Morgan Freeman narrated it. I feel like that's true.
That's a good enough reason.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
We like things for the reasons we like them.
Oh,
I think we should find out how long we've been talking.
I feel like it's been a good 45 minutes or so.
1392.
We've been speaking for about 1,395 bars of 4/4 in 120 BPM. And I cannot wait to hear that sick beat.
Do not.
It's very helpful.
Let's make our own little like track.
Yeah, we're going to remix this down, make it some sort of prog. That's the sound that you're going to be censored over. You should swear more often. I would love to hear your cuckoo voice.
We've come back fully, which means that it's probably time to clip this.
Yeah.
And then close it up.
Totally natural outro time.
So this has been a little bit wild. It's been a little bit over. We've talked about D&D and video games and stuff like that, and not normally what we talk about on our Pubcast. But hey, we're mixing it up this week. So thanks so much for listening to the Seven Sisters Pubcast. It's been a great time, as it always is, with my friend Shawnee. And I don't know, Shawnee, do you have anything else to say?
I can very naturally read from my notes.
You're going to read, subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, right. I don't know where this is going to be. We might be on YouTube, we might be on Instagram, we might be on Facebook. I don't know.
It doesn't matter where it is.
If we're on Facebook, like it, love it, whatever. If you're on Instagram, give us a wee heart. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're on whatever, the TikToks, if that's going to be banned in France soon, actually, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah. Something I learned during my own quiz last night. Anyway, but that's not really important.
Then we should have a conversation about that next.
Yes. But follow the Instagram page of the pub. It's at Seven Sisters Pub. Highly recommended.
Excellent.
And yes, we do quiz nights on Thursdays when we're open, which is soon again. When are we opening again?
I think the end of August.
End of August, grand. Well, this will probably be out after then.
Maybe
Maybe
to see big pictures of me hugging people and picking them up off the floor. Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely worth coming just for that. You know, come on, if you ever see Alan at the pub, you know, tell him I saw your podcast. I loved hearing you try to imitate Morgan Freeman, and I'm sure he'll give you a very, very big hug. And it'll probably go on Instagram. We do quizzes on Thursdays. There's a race night on the first Friday of every month. There's Unlock the Box on Saturdays, and if you know, there's all sorts of stuff happening here.
Oh yeah, there's always good stuff here.
And you know, who knows? Paul will probably come up with something new for the new season. Even who knows? I don't know. Maybe not. But there's already plenty going on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Love you.
Yes, love you too. Wait, were you talking to me? It's like
you talking to me?
Nice.